Howdy. Today we're going to be talking about all the buffs that are coming to the characters in the next patch. We know all of the details because of the magical power of leaks from the beta tests. Now, I wasn't able to find all of them in one spot that was easy with images and stuff and having to go back and forth, be it in like download images or Discord. So the most convenient way to go over them would be to show someone with their beta footage. So massive credit to Saber Rail here. We are going to be skimming through their video because they go over all of the characters. They hover over, the buffs and stuff that's going to be changing to them. So definitely check them out. Hopefully I remember to put the link to their video or channel in the description to this video. Now, first on the chopping block is Blade. Now, all the characters getting buffed are Blade, Silverwolf, Kafka, and Jingliu. And Blade is the first one we're going to talk about. He's got issues as it stands because he's split scaling, and that's going to be changing. He's going to be purely HP scaling, which is very, very huge. All the changes he's getting are quite small, I'd say. There's not like big changes, just like he's HP scaling now. And he gets massively increased aggro when he's in his Hellscape state. That is going to be a very, very big buff to him. Just all of this HP scaling, HP scaling, HP scaling, all of it is fixed. And then he's also going to get energy back now when he uses his follow-up attack. It gives 15 energy, which means more ult casts as well. Very nice. And his E1 is going to make it so the tallied HP you get is also going to apply to his enhanced basic attack. Sorry, I started there. I thought I accidentally clicked on a video, a different one. So this is all going to be really, really spicy right here. Now, Blade's slowly been getting better and better as time goes on because he's been getting better teammates. One of his biggest issues, other than his split scaling, this whole time since he came out, was a lack of characters that could buff him because he's HP scaling. A lot of characters give attack values, which just, they do nothing for Blade. But we've been getting a lot of good characters for him lately. First, we got Sunday. Sunday just gives crit rate, crit damage, damage percent, tons of skill points, energy, action advance, and none of those bonuses are wasted on Blade. So that was a really big buff to him if you got Sunday. Then we got Tribby. Tribby gives a lot of freaking damage if you get her E1 especially, but she gets her own personal damage she can contribute. She has very good personal damage. She can use DDD really well. Her skill gives res pen to the whole team, which works with Blade. Her ult makes the enemy receive more damage, which works with Blade. She's HP scaling, so if you had an HP scaler in the team, someone that buffed HP, Tribby would also benefit along with Blade, which we ended up getting with Hyacine, but not quite on Hyacine yet. Tribby also has her E1, which is kind of ridiculous in how crazy powerful it is, giving true damage, and how the targeting of it works. So that was another huge buff to Blade's existence. Then we got Hyacine just recently, a few days ago as of recording this, and she is, first of all, insane in her personal damage. She should not be as freaking strong as she is. She's crazy. It's like Linksha 2.0. She's got crazy personal damage. She gives an HP buff to the whole team, and she also is going to be benefiting from Tribby's buffs for more personal damage and giving more HP to Tribby for her personal damage as well, on top of the bonus HP, of course, working on Blade to increase his damage. So now we have a Sunday, Tribby, Hyacine, and Blade comp, which is very, very strong. And Blade is arguably meta, he could be even. He's really, really strong after the changes. And he's able to comfortably clear endgame content with very, very little effort now. If you want to watch the actual gameplay that Saber Rail does, I do recommend watching the video. We're not going to, go through all of the gameplay. We'd be here forever. I just want to talk about the buffs. Now, I do think he is going to be like, if we go by like Pride Wins tiering, I would say Blade will probably end up being in tier 0.5. And I'd say that's, if he does end up there, it's pretty fair. He's not going to be as crazy as the characters coming out, Phynon and Saber. They are really overpowered, but that's inevitable in a gacha game. Power creep is going to be a thing, but Blade is still going to be a very strong character, and something that makes him very easy to use is that he's not difficult to use, and he's also really tanky, and so is the whole team. He's tanky, Hyacine's tanky, she makes everybody else tanky with their HP increase and healing all the time. Tribby's tanky, It's a very comfortable team to play that you can just sort of slap on and not worry about dying. So it's going to be one of the best teams overall, in my opinion, once Blade gets the buffs. Very, very good. And the level of vertical investment you can do is really, really there, right? You get Hyacine, you really want Hyacine's Light Cone. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Hyacine's Light Cone also makes it so Hyacine, every time she acts, can make Blade get a stack. That's also pretty wacky. Hyacine's Light Cone, Hyacine's E1, Hyacine's E2, Tribby's E1, Tribby's Light Cone, I guess, though DDD might be better, although probably not. If how you'd have to be more careful about your speed tuning with Sunday and Blade. Sunday's Light Cone, Blade's E1, lots of potential for amazing vertical investment as well. And that's pretty much for my thoughts on Blade. We are going to save Jingliu for last. Next, we're going to do Kafka. Kafka's a pretty big one. I mean, they're all kind of big, sort of. Kafka is really being cemented in as the DOT character. She is the one you need to make DOT work. I thought maybe they would like buff her main DPS and not her support at all for DOT, and then she would get power crept. But after this, I don't think she'll get power crept. Now, for her skill, it is now going to detonate DOTs not just on the main enemy, but the adjacent enemies as well. The blast attack is a proper DOT detonating blast attack now, thank God. That is very, very nice for her, like, AoE damage. Now, it is going to be a smaller percentage on the adjacent enemies, but literally anything at all is more than what we have right now with that. Now, her ultimates is also going to be much better. It's going to take damage from the current DOT states, right? Become shock means from shock state, 100% of the original shock, but now her ult is going to detonate all of the DOT states, okay? Very, very juicy. Now, it also, I could have sworn it was going to get a multiplier increase. I guess maybe not. Maybe I'm just schizo and I forgot. Crap, I didn't mean to skip and move from where it was. There we go. Yeah, okay, see, I'm not dumb. 120% of the original shock damage. Beautiful, beautiful. That is a very nice damage increase. Now, her talents, this is one of the more interesting ones. She's going to get 2 stacks of her talent now, and she'll get 1 stack when her turn happens, like usual, but she'll also get 1 stack back when casting her ults. And now when teammates attack the enemy with anything, it will trigger her follow-up. It doesn't have to be a basic attack anymore, which is very, very good. And on top of that, doesn't it also, or is it a bonus thing that makes it so her talent automatically triggers the enemy's DOT? Right? Yada, yada, yada. One use. Okay, no, I'm just schizo. The bonus torture ability. Yes, here we go. When ally targets' effect hit rate is over 75%, Kafka increases their DOT dealt by 75%. Whoa. Her E2 right now is 30% DOT damage for the team. And now she's going to give 75% in her base kit. That's a lot of fucking damage. She is very, very good now for DOT. And then her other one, yes, see, I knew it. After ultimate, Talon's follow-up attack can be triggered 1 time, and the follow-up attack can cause all DOT debuffs the target is currently under to immediately produce damage equal to 80% of the original value. So now her talent will also detonate DOTs on the enemy. She will have more ways of detonating DOTs. She'll have bigger multipliers for detonating DOTs. She'll have more talents to do so. She's also going to give a huge damage bonus to teammates with DOT. Very, very spicy changes. Then for her E1, it's getting changed to make it so that when you attack and it triggers her follow-up, it'll work, because right now it's a little wonky. You have to, use a basic to trigger her follow-up to make it so the enemy takes the bonus damage. So it's just making that a little easier to do. And her E2 is going from the bonus DOT damage, because that's in her base kit now. Oh, it's 25, not 30%. Yeah, she already has this basically in her base kit. Now she gets extra attack instead, which goes up to 50%, which is okay. Overall, nice changes to Kafka. Definitely cementing her as like the DOT core character. So when we inevitably get Hyacines, and then we got that whole DOT team going, I think she's gonna be meta. Like, one of the best in the game because she, this is overtuned as hell if you ask me. I personally did not believe Kafka needed buffs. Kafka just needed teammates. She needed a proper DOT team. And she's gonna get that eventually, but now when that happens, she's gonna be insane with everything in her kit. So that's pretty funny. And this also, all these changes are enough that even without her DOT team yet, she can actually clear content quite well now, her and Black Swan together. So that's pretty cool. Overall, very solid. I think after the changes, she'll probably be in like tier 0.5, tier 1, kind of sort of depending on the game mode or the cycle, the rotation of it. But when we get high Silence and we get that DOT team, that's when she's really gonna shine. Next, we have Silverwolf, which is the most interesting of all the changes, in my opinion. Oh me, oh my. Silverwolf is going to be spicy. Very spicy. Now, here we are. First of all, her skill now will prioritize implanting the weakness of the elements of the character very first in the lineup. Oh my, very nice. Now you can guarantee to get the specific element you want. That is huge. So she's really good for helping brute force stuff now, which is, well, how she should have been in the first place. Now, on top of that, it's going up to 3 turns at base, because normally it's 2 turns, and I believe one of the talents, or one of the big traces increased it to by another turn, but now just at base it's 3 turns instead, and it's got 13% res shred at base instead of the 10%, because also one of the big traces was it gave an extra 3%. So that's nice, because the trace itself is going to be replaced in what it does, so what it gave is inherently part of the skill now. Very, very good. Her ults, oh wait, actually back up slightly, I forgot. It's also increasing the base chance of applying the debuff from 85 to 120%. Huge. You are not going to need to build a ton of effect hit rate anymore. You only need a tiny bit to make use of this. Very, very nice. Her ult is also having its base chance increased from 100 to 120, and it's going to hit every single enemy instead of just one. As of right now, it still has the same 380% damage multiplier, which is insane. I fully expect them to lower that, so don't bet on that staying where it is right now. Because for reference, Himiko's ult that hits all of the enemies has a bigger energy cost and does what I think like 210% multiplier. This is like nearly double. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But still, very good. She's going to actually be a Pella upgrade now, finally. Now, for one of her talents, the one that has the bugs, the bug that reduces defense is going from an 8% def shred to 12%. So that with the ult now puts her at a 57% def shred. Very nice. And the base chance to apply a bug is going from 72 to 100%. And when the enemy target is defeated, the weakness Silverwolf implanted on it will be transferred to another surviving enemy on the field. So if you implant a weakness and they die immediately, it's not just going to disappear and be a waste, it's going to go to someone else. That's a very, very good. Bonus ability, generate. Now, when an enemy has their weakness broken and they get a random bug, it's also 100% base chance instead of the 65%, so that's good. She's also going to make it so that at the start of battle, she immediately regenerates 20 energy, which is going to help get her ult up as soon as possible. And then she will also get 5 energy at the start of her turn every single turn, similar to Ting Yun or Ron Mei. That is going to help her energy rotations a lot. Very, very, very good. And then the last bonus ability in her base kit is going to be she has a big trace where it converts effect hit rate to attack. Every 10% effect hit rate gives her 10% attack, capping out at 50%. This is just there so that if you build effect hit rate, it converts directly to attack so that you're just getting more damage as if you had built attack anyways. This isn't like huge, but it will help her personal damage, so that's nice. Now, her Eidolon 2 is also changing, and this is one of the big, big changes. Currently, it reduces the effect res of all enemies on field by 20%. No more. Instead, enemies get damage taken plus 20%. And on top of that, every single attack from any teammate in the team has a 100% base chance to implant the attacked enemy with one random bug. That means every attack from every teammate, be it basic, skill, ult, follow-up, literally anything, is going to apply a debuff. Now, if you're not an Acheron user, you're probably not going to care too much, but the Acheron people, I already know you're sopping wet down there, okay? This is crazy, crazy good for Acheron teams, because you don't have to have teammates that apply a debuff specifically anymore. Like, Hyacinth with her light cone just came out, and she is now technically the best option for a sustain for an Acheron team, because she's going to generate the most stacks. You don't need to get Hyacinth in your light cone anymore. Hell, you could probably... Hyacinth herself might still be the best option because she's so crazy, but you don't need her light cone to apply the debuff. If you just get E2 Silverwolf, there you go. And this means every teammate or character ever to come out in the future, it doesn't matter if they have a debuff in their base kit, get E2 Silverwolf and have her in the team, they're gonna apply a debuff. So Silverwolf's E2 is crazy good for Acheron teams now. It is an E2, so that's kind of a yikes, but she's been out a long time, and you don't need her light cone. Silverwolf's light cone is dog shit. Cypher's light cone would be much, much better than Silverwolf's signature on her, but you don't need a 5-star light cone at all to make Silverwolf work. She works just fine. If you have at least her E1, which gives energy to her, you can easily get a 2-turn ult rotation without any energy in her kit. Like no ER rope or anything, just E1, you can get a 2-turn ult. Now, if you have, before the tutorial starts on her for the extra energy, and an ER rope, and I can't remember if you do or don't need the 5% ER from a planar, plus her E1, you can even get 1-turn ults. You'll have to skill every turn, but you'll have an ult every single turn, which is very spicy. These are extremely strong changes. I fully expect Silverwolf, even at E0, to be a tier 0 character. She's going to be like meta of the meta. She's going to be top meta when it comes to increasing the damage of your team. Very, very strong character. And that just leaves Jingliu. Oh, buddy Jingliu. This one's painful. Jingliu's buffs are not quite as good. So first off, she is going to be HP scaling instead of attack scaling. That's interesting, I guess. I don't know why they decided to do that, but they did. And they're also going to make it so that her base skill now will have the same damage as her enhanced skill. You still lose out on the bonus stats from being in your enhanced state, of course, and you don't have the AoE damage, well, blast damage, but it is nice, I guess, for if you're not in the enhanced state, it's a little more damage. Still HP scaling now as well, HP scaling on her ults. When you enter her enhanced state now, you also get an extra stack of syzygy, so you get 2 and then you go straight up to 3. This is okay. It's not going to make a huge difference, and it also means you have to be more careful about your energy, because let's say you enter the enhanced state, right, spectral migration, and your energy is full. You can't ult as soon as you go into the state anymore, because you're gonna waste a stack. Then you're already at 3 stacks. You get 2 to go into the state, and it gives you 1, putting you at 3. So like normally if you use her with Bronya, you advance her, scale, puts her in her enhanced state, and cast her ult before her turn technically ends, and you can make use of the buff still. That's not going to work anymore without wasting energy. So that's kind of unfortunate. I wish they would have increased her syzygy stack as well, kind of like how her E6 does. And because she is HP scaling now instead of bonus attack from her spectral transmigration state, now she is going to get bonus crit damage. Yes, crit damage. And it's also not all there at once. So she got the full attack bonus on every attack when she attacked before in her spectral transmigration state. But this is stacks, and you get up to 5 stacks for the full crit damage. And you can't do that in a single attack. So either there's ramp up, or it only lasts that turn, in which case you need a memo sprite on the team. And crit damage is already very diluted. very, very diluted because she gets so much crit rate, 50% crit rate. You're building into crit damage. She gets crit damage from her E1. She gets crit damage from her E6. I think she gets crit damage from her E4. She gets crit damage from her light cone. She's going to get crit damage from her best teammate Sunday. They're doubling down on her having diminishing values. This is just making the diminishing values problem even worse than how it already was, which is really, really unfortunate. She is also going to immediately get 15 energy after she uses Transcendent Flash, so that's there, I guess. It will be instead of advancing her action by 10%. This will help her to get back into the Spectral Transmigration state as fast as possible, but really, her damage in the enhanced state is lower than basically every other DPS not in enhanced state, like they just have it. So this is kind of a redundant thing to have. Why not either make her damage worth keeping her in the enhanced state, or just remove it and have her just, have her normal skill be like it is in the enhanced state? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, her Eidolons are also receiving a few changes. Her E1 is now going to give her extra max HP scaling damage on her ults against the enemy she's targeting, the primary target, instead of there having to be only one enemy. This is just quality of life for the most part. Very, very nice. Her E4 is changing to give her more crit damage instead of more attack, since she's not attack scaling anymore from her Spectral Transmigration state. And her E6 is going to give her Ice Res Pen now instead of crit damage. Ah, yes, that's what it was. So that's there, I suppose. On top of the making her diminishing returns problem even worse, making her HP scaling also takes away a lot of her best teammates, right? Or not best teammates, but her options as teammates right now. Baronia's attack buff is now worthless, and her Baronia's crit damage buff is heavily diminished now. Tingyun, she's there to give a bunch of energy to Jingliu and an attack buff. She's one of the best teammates for Jingliu. She also doesn't really work anymore. Huohua is there for energy, to give energy to the like Tingyun, to give more energy to Jingliu and energy directly to Jingliu. Well, her attack buff is useless now, so you just lost a big part of Huohua's buff. So she's not as much worth using anymore. A lot of the characters we have are attack scaling buffs, right? Yukong doesn't work anymore. Not that anyone uses her. Hanya doesn't work anymore. It's just they're amplifying all of her problems. Her issues of restrictive teams and diminishing returns are being doubled down on. Now, you might be thinking, well, does she at least have the damage to compensate, right? Does she have way more damage now? It's like 20% at best on average in a rotation. That's not great. Even with that in her best team, she's going to be way worse than basically every other DPS. And her best team is the same team as Blade. It's going to be Hyacinth, Sunday, and Tribby. Why wouldn't you just use Blade? Blade is way better. I mean, granted, he's not ice for if you're doing something where you need ice specifically, but even brute forcing Blade might be better. Jingliu's buffs are kind of pathetic, and I really hope they don't stick with this. We are still early on in the beta, so there is hope that it gets better, but as it stands, Jingliu is going to go from being questionably the worst DPS in the game to the worst DPS in the game, but even more restrictive and expensive. Not really what I was hoping for. Kind of yikes. But that's it for the buffs for all of the characters as of right now. I don't know if I'll do an updates about all of the buffs in the beta if they get changed. Maybe if they get like drastically changed, I will, or when they come out finally, like in the update, because they will be, set in stone. But for now, that's it. If you have any thoughts on the buffs, then let me know in the comments down below. That's gonna do it though. Adios.